Now, one thing that was made clear to me quite early on is to get into the game industry, you have to have experience. Now, your lecturers might hate me for this, but you don't need to go to university to get a job in the game industry. But what university does, it gives you this great opportunity and time, more importantly, time to really focus your skills within a certain area. So for me, first year, I just kind of started building up my portfolio a little bit, kind of exploring, okay, did I want to go down the sound design route? Did I want to go down like the composer route? Or maybe just like audio engineering or like software-based stuff. And yeah, within that time, I set up a gaming society at Bristol. It was like my little child. I loved it. Not many people came, but we had great fun. We had big lecture theatre, almost like this, where we were playing like, I don't know, like Rocket League and stuff like that, or Battlefield. And you can imagine with like these kind of speakers, like it sounds amazing in there. So I was like, yeah, I want to play in there. So yeah, and eventually I was like, okay, I want to kind of really start heading towards my goal of getting in the industry. And I started getting onto projects. Now, I can talk a little bit later on about how to get onto these projects, but I managed to find one through Discord, and they were basically looking for someone to create sounds for this underwater kind of exploration game called Acore. And I was like, yeah, sure, I can create some sounds. I generally know how to do some Unreal Engine stuff. I'm not a master in any of these fields, but I can definitely contribute. And being on that project, obviously you learn a lot of things. First of all, contract signing. If any of you haven't come across that, I would go for it sooner rather than later because it's very important about what you're doing within your role. And yeah, from there, kind of carried on progressing. I managed to get onto more projects. I was doing like, it wasn't just game audio I was doing. I was working on some films at the same time. So during my 3 years at uni, I worked on a 3-year film project where basically every year the film got bigger, but it was the same story. So we started off with like 5 people the first year, 10 people second year, to like 30, 40 people the last year. And that's what I was doing during that time. So it let me do different roles, such as like sound designer, on-field recorder, music composer, and eventually I went to audio lead just because I had that vision over the 3 years. And yeah, uni was a very busy time. COVID hit during it. And then when we were allowed back, obviously there was a lot of restrictions. So I was like, right, obviously I'm just going to try and smash this as much as I can. So at my peak, I should have given myself a break looking back, but I was on 5 different game projects whilst doing my university project, whilst also working my local fish and chip shop. So you can imagine what Matt was like every night, just like, I need some sleep. Yeah, so after that, kind of came to the 3rd year, and obviously with a lot of the portfolio stuff that I'd been doing, kind of improving the skills I got, I started looking towards actually getting into the industry. So I started looking and preparing myself around December so that I could hit January with like applying for jobs and stuff. And fortunately enough, I got a few different offers back from people. So just check. Yes, so you might have heard of like Creative Assembly. They do a lot of like Total War games. Bulkhead, they do like first-person shooter games, Supermassive games, and one in particular stood out for me, which is Vertex Stadium. Now, as opposed to all the other ones, they were different. They were more like a platform. They were an app, a VR experience, and it was very hush-hush. They're like, hey, we want you on this project, but you're going to have to do a call with us, and you're going to have to sign a load of documents that you're not going to talk about it. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. So, yeah, and went through interviews, got shown some pretty awesome stuff, which I'll show you in a bit. And yeah, I was lucky enough to get the job around February. A little bit of a panic mode at that moment. I was like, just to let you know, I'm still in uni. Are you guys happy to wait for me to finish? Because I got my like dissertation coming up soon. Like, I need to finish that. They're like, yeah, cool, no worries. So my actual last hand-in, the week of my hand-in for like whole of uni was when I actually started the job. So I was very fortunate to get back on that, but I put a lot of that down because I did start quite early.